How are we doing, guys? David T here in my backyard. Actually, it's my dad's garden on a very grim January afternoon in England. So here I am as usual with the intention of assisting the needlessly confused out there. Today it's more aimed at the men, but women, you should know about this too. Men are confused just as women are confused often about how to attract the opposite sex. So they go looking for information and assistance and guidance. With all of that, good, you know, it's better than just giving up, right? And then they come across things that look very legit, very reasonable, very kind of real, very like believable. Information that's put out there by actually guys who are in the same situation as them, confused. And the most well-known example of those, possibly the most well-known example in the, almost call it the community. There's no community. But in this world of men learning how to pick up girls, there's this thing called mystery method. I'll just flash that on the screen in big letters for you there. Mystery method. Basically, it's the method of meeting and attracting women that's been put together by this guy, who I'm sure is a perfectly decent human being. This video is not a rant about this particular guy, the author of this book. It's a book, basically, detailing the method. And sure, we can see many examples of this being an effective way for a guy to go around a club and meet people and take a girl home. Absolutely. I'm not saying that it's like total bullshit. However, let's just take a look at the thing here. Should also point out, because there's always these people who are like, well, you know, I'm not a competitive guy. I don't feel the need to assert my ego and be competitive and try and get one over on other people. I'm very happy with my career, my coaching career that I've built independently, outside of working for some company or something to get me there quicker. I've built it all myself by showing up with the truth that people resonate with. You know, I'm not here to steal any business. In fact, I don't need to. The vast majority of the guys that come to me for coaching have previously taken coaching elsewhere, which says a lot. So I don't need to do anything like that. But what I do need to do is point out that the mystery method puts a whole bunch of steps and unnecessary noise between, like, being born and having sex. You know, there's a lot too many, like, between meeting someone. Oh shit, my little flexi tripod thing is falling asleep. Let's just get it back on there. I bet that'll happen again. It's like a cheap copy of I didn't want to spend £180 on a thing that I'm going to use like once a month, so I spent £11 on one instead. So it's like a cheap copy, but it's not bad so far. Let's just get straight into this. So somebody posted in the group of a guy who I love, Joseph Alfred Spark, guy who's been very consistent in putting himself out there and all that, but this isn't about him at all. Some guy's basically been welcomed to his group, and I'm not going to interfere in Joseph's business at all, you know. This video is to assist this guy who's posted asking for an explanation. In fact, this guy, I won't name him, he asked Chris to do a full breakdown of each stage of the mystery method, and also the barriers between those. Let me go through the stages. So there's basically A1, A2, A3, C1, C2, C3, and S1, S2, S3. And the way this author, Mystery, calls himself, has described those stages is basically A, I assume, is A for attraction. So there's approach, that's A1. A2 is attracting the HB, or female to male interest. Not quite sure what that is, but I'm going to go with HB. They talk about girls as like a target in this, so I assume that's what that is. And then the C, the three steps in the C. So C is comfort phase, it says here. So there's building rapport. Then there's building emotional connection and physical connection. That's C2. And C3 is intimacy. Ooh, that's all bizarre. And then there's the S phase, which is S for seduction, because women need to be seduced, right? S1 foreplay, S2 LMR, I know what that is, and S3 sex. LMR is last minute resistance. So I don't know, you've got a girl into your bed and she doesn't want to have sex. This thing assumes LMR. It assumes foreplay. It assumes we need to build rapport. It assumes that we need to build an emotional and physical connection. Now, what I'm experiencing in my reality, and have been doing so for years, and more as each year goes on, as I really let go of all this bullshit and be real with people, is that extreme method is a lot of steps when really there's no steps at all. It's just, I like the look of you and I'm going to let you know that. Yeah? Not you. Well, maybe you. You viewer. I don't know who you are. If I like the look of you, I'll probably let you know that, you know? And that's probably going to turn you on a little bit. If I'm your type. If you're a straight man, then that's not going to happen, of course. I'm a heterosexual man. Just to be clear on that. For the sake of humour, let's throw that in there, right? Now, one might argue that the mystery method is good for guys who have just got no social experience whatsoever, and they need some kind of framework, so they need to know how to actually interact with other people. But then one might argue against, well, that's a pretty rigid framework, when really why not be open to all good possibilities, rather than the only reason I'm going to even interact with a female is to put her through this kind of process, these stages, so that I can get to all these these obstacles that I'm creating as a result of following the strategy, LMR for example, and then get the goal with my target. The girl is a target in that world, in that subculture. It's all very hard and it's not in line with how things really are. Is it raining? No, it's just water falling off there. So guys who have got no social experience at all, they might read this book and go, oh wow, so you can go and talk to strangers and you can tell them a story about your niece and all this kind of stuff, which is all very nice and we all do. Normally, you know, when we meet people, we will tell them about ourselves and we'll ask them about themselves, and we'll kind of get along and we'll find out commonalities and we'll find out what we like about each other and that kind of thing. You know, that forms a connection. That's all cool. What this book, what this method is causing is serious confusion and shit in the minds and lives of so many men, because the only men who would ask for further clarification on the method itself are the ones who are not yet understanding who and what the fuck they are. These are people living ruled by their mind in a world of limitations that were put there by the way they were basically raised and conditioned. If they understood their power, if they were connected to their fucking essence, they would not be asking, how do I do this and that? They wouldn't give a fuck. They would be like, I feel fucking magnificent, I feel awesome, who wants to meet me? So how do we do that then? How do we reach lots and lots of people and introduce them to the reality of what we are? How do we do that? Well, yeah, this is my goal this year, is to reach as many people as possible with that. Not so that the author of this book can have no income and all that. No, not at all. I wish him all the best. I'm sure he's, like I said, a perfectly decent human being. Not to put anyone out of business at all. I want us all to get along beautifully. You know, I'm not this competitive guy. There's no need to be competitive. It's for this, because I live in a world of people who are here, overthinking everything. They are reactive, they're not calm, they're not chill, they're not easygoing, they're too intense, they're not sexual, they're not somebody I can just have fun with. There's lots of people like that. You see them on the streets, like women who are living as men. I don't mean like trans people. I'm talking about women who drink like men and yell like men and They're disconnected from their feminine completely. And men are disconnected from their masculine completely. Men are apologizing for who they are because they've been brought up to be nice, polite little boys. That's not who they are. They would never survive in the wild as a nice, polite little boy. They would be, oh, come on, bear, off you go. Yeah. Oh, don't mind me, you eat your food and I'll just sit here and die. No, the way to get along in life is to fucking show up and be. Yeah, not kind of go, oh, sorry, do you mind if I, oh, hang on, I'm not sure how to do this. I'll just read this book, hang on. That's not how we get on. That's not how things happen. Yeah? Things happen when we arrive and we look people in the eye and we're genuinely pleased to be there. And pleased to be alive, like happy to be who we are. And of course, so many of us have been raised to be humble, apologetic, basically weak, permission-seeking, limited, put in a box, told who to be and what our career should be and what school to go to, and all of this nonsense that's put there by our parents. Bless them, you know, they had good intentions themselves, but they too were disconnected from who they were because they were following the program, following the system, following what's been already done before. You know, I want to live in a world where we can all just get on, we can all just get along, don't we all? Yeah. Do we need to? Who's that guy? You know, I'm not going to name names because I don't want to be that dickhead. There's a guy on YouTube right now, he's based in the UK, and he'll teach you to stand on the corner of a street and wait for pretty girls to come along and then like pounce. I don't mean pounce like rape them, of course not, you know, he's not that bad. But it's creating artificial connections, like approach girls and chat them up using a technique very similar to the one we've just kind of looked at in this clip. I'm totally up for like approaching girls. Go for it. If you see a beautiful girl, go and fucking let her know that you've seen her and that you felt something. Sure, don't be ashamed of that. Own it. Take responsibility for what happens next. If it goes well, that's because you're doing what's normal. Good for you, you didn't overthink it. Yeah. If she is freaked out by you, take responsibility for that too. Don't try and avoid that. Don't be like, well, I better not go and talk to her in case I'm not enough for her. Women aren't stood around waiting to smack you down. But don't reinforce your lack, your situation of I don't have what I want by lurking on street fucking corners waiting for the pretty girl to come along to chat her up. Go and have a life. The reason I say all what I've just said there is because truth is everything. It's the power. Truth is the power. Energy is truth. Truth is energy. Truth is the thing that gets shit done. So if you're going to meet a girl on the street and you're going to lie to her, you're continuing to live in this belief system that what you're doing is not appropriate, that's not cool, that's not acceptable. Yeah. If your truth is that if you stand on the corner of a street like this one particular day game coach suggests that you should do, and you tell her the truth, fair play to you. Actually, if you stop a girl and you say, do you know what, every weekend I stand on that corner there and I wait for pretty girls, and you are one such, so I'm going to go and fucking, I've come to talk to you. Fair play to you. You know, you come and have a cup of tea with me. You could be my friend any day. But you're going to say, oh, so I just randomly saw you, I was walking down the street. Be real, guys. Be fucking truthful. Don't go to the club to use your mystery method and let that confuse you even more, let that detach you even more from who the fuck you are. Don't bother with that shit. If you can't sit and enjoy being yourself, like alone in a room with nothing going on, if you can't stand not having your phone in your hand, if you can't stand not having a girl to the point where you're reading books about how to do it, that's the thing to work on. Because when you've worked on that, or when rather you've let go of all this noise in your head, people are going to meet such a nice, calm, like chill version of you, a real and present, the real you. They're going to meet the real you, a guy who's okay with himself, that's comfortable in his own skin. that's when you're going to have the good experiences. That's when you're going to be able to get yourself in a situation where people want to hang out with you, when they call you, when it's Friday night and your texts are coming in saying like, girls, like, what are you doing tonight? My husband's out of town. Yeah? Welcome to the life. I invite you to it. If you like my crazy, hit subscribe. That's going to be it for now, because it's too cold. Thanks for watching, guys. Do appreciate you.